Well, good morning, everyone, and welcome to First Fridays with DWG CPA. I'm your host, Daryl Groves, and I'm glad that you're able to join us today. Each month, we seek to provide topics that will be helpful to our clients as they navigate their businesses toward financial and operational success. Our webinars are recorded and posted to our website for viewing later under the Client Center. The format today will be as follows. All participant lines will be muted during the presentation and unmuted during our Q&A session at the end. Questions can be raised during the presentation using the Q&A comment box at the bottom left of your screen. We'll make every effort to answer your questions during the Q&A session, and as always, you're more than welcome to set up a one-on-one meeting to cover additional questions or concerns that you may have at any time. Let's see. So DWG CPA is a full-service accounting firm. We provide tax accounting and audit solutions for small businesses, nonprofits, and individuals. For those of you who haven't yet subscribed, we offer a monthly newsletter in which you'll get 4 to 5 brief articles each month. And those articles are designed to keep you updated year-round on tax updates and information you need to manage your business and finances. As you can see, this month we deal with articles the articles this month that we're dealing with relate to hobby and the differences between a hobby and a business, crowdfunding tax issues, and deferring capital gains. In order to subscribe to our newsletter, you simply go to our website at dwgcpatx.com. We also offer a way to connect via social media by liking our page on Facebook, following us on Twitter, or connecting via LinkedIn. So today, our topic today is on branding and marketing essentials for today's marketplace. Our presenter today is Yvette Mayo. She's President and Chief Creative Officer for Yosoy IM LLC. And some of the other things about Yvette, she's an award-winning entrepreneur, small business strategist, and overall great speaker. And so we're glad to have you, Yvette, this morning. I'll let you take over from here.
Wonderful. Thank you, everyone. I hope everyone can hear me. One of the things that I spend a lot of time doing is working with small business owners today and figuring how to maximize time and money. So I hope that raises an antenna with all of you online today. But what's really important here is how do we market ourselves in today's marketplace? So one of those places that a lot of us turn to these days is social media. So today, my conversation with you is how to maximize your efforts on social media, how to communicate what's important to you, such as your values and your growth strategies, but most importantly, being consistent. So here's our agenda for today. It's essentials for your business, for your marketing strategy, what fuels your strategy, and most importantly, your brand strategy. So we'll spend a little time in all of these areas. So hopefully you're either going to get confirmation that you're doing something really well today, or you will also get information on things that you can do to make your strategy, your marketing strategy, stronger. Most importantly, more effective to do what we all need to do is grow our revenue. So with that, Daryl is going to be handling my presentation. So Daryl, let's go to the next slide. If we get anything across to all of you today, it's understanding the word consistent. Wherever you present your marketing strategy, your values, your logo, your content, it's important to be consistent. You're going to see this throughout the presentation. You're going to hear it throughout the presentation. Why? because being consistent is the key to your marketing strategy. It takes action. So it's acting or done in the same way over time. Also being unchanging in nature, creating a standard, and most importantly, doing this over time. So Daryl, let's go to the next slide. The first part of the essentials to your marketing strategy, we're going to cover these 4 points. Provide focus and direction, save time and money, identify your audience, and also identify your value proposition. Let's move forward. When you provide focus and direction, please click, Daryl. Without focus and direction, your company cannot effectively articulate your goals, your objectives to your clients, potential clients, and also employees. What's important here is as you define what those objectives are, it's important to use your marketing strategy as a way to communicate. Now, when I put here employees, is that we have to remember, as small business owners, we know our business. We know exactly what we want to do. We want to know how to accomplish it, but sometimes we don't always communicate that. So creating a strong marketing strategy also becomes an internal communication tool. It reminds your employees, not just your customers, of what you're trying to accomplish, but why you're trying to accomplish it. So it's a great communication tool to make sure that your content is always focused and in the direction you want to go. Daryl? When it comes to providing focus and direction, it's important to remember that your strategy serves the goals you set for your company. You simply can't move forward without knowing where you're wanting to work on. And every small business is focused on sales and revenue, most importantly, growth. When it comes to the adult that's 18 and to 34, which we call today our millennials, one thing that they don't do is that they don't visit print media, they don't go to news sites, they don't watch TV as often. They usually get their information from online sites. So one thing to keep reminding yourself, any content that you put out there is not to create likes. Likes does not create sales. Likes just creates an audience. So what's important here is as you move forward, your essential marketing strategy has to generate money, not likes. Daryl? And working with one of my clients, who you may recognize, is at the beginning of the year, growth was important. So we created something like this to be shared online. So most of you have either seen it or this is the first time seeing this. But what it does is it really does 2 amazing things. It creates a content that's going to help you grow what you're trying to achieve, but has a call to action. You're going to hear this word this phrase, call to action. Is this because you can't create content without telling people what you want them to do. And both of those things help you grow your revenue and your strategy. Why? Because your customers see this. You want to tell them what you want to do with it. So as you post things online, remember, it's not just the content, but it has to be related back to your goals and objectives. And here, we're asking customers for referrals. In business today, and in the past, this is an old strategy. Ask for referrals. It generates momentum, but it also is your customer has the opportunity to share what they like about your business with people they know and trust. And if they like you and they know and trust you, then they're going to refer you. And that adds to your growth. Daryl?
Well, I want to go back to that last slide. I definitely wanted to mention earlier how much we appreciate you working with us to develop our marketing plan for this year. I think that really helped because, as we said before, referrals are a big way that we get our clients, or new clients, that is. And so I think that you're very instrumental in helping us to realize we need to ask for those.
Yeah, you have to ask. And the thing about it is that we could put all these wonderful things out on Facebook or social media, wherever you're placing these things. But you have to let people know what you want them to know about your business. It has to be related to your goals, and it has to have that call to action. And a simple image like the one we created there could help you do that in just really quickly. So the next thing is that we want to move to the next slide, which is in this one here, which is save time and money. See, we have to limit investing on marketing initiatives that only support our overall business objectives. You can't be part of everything. You can't be everywhere because, we don't have that much. We don't have the luxury of a lot of time. And we don't always have the luxury of having a marketing strategist or a marketing person on our staff. So it comes down to us, that solopreneur who's moving their goals and objectives forward. So what's really important is in your essential marketing strategy, remember this: you can't be everywhere. And if it doesn't move your goals and objectives forward, then it's not for you. And the other component is if you're not tailoring your current market exposure to your goals and your objectives, then it's time to shift. It's time to limit what you put out there and stay focused on your goals. Daryl? What's important here is also to identify your audience. In our marketplace today, we can go out after every single person out there in social media, but that's not a good way to cast your net, because what happens when you cast your net in the ocean? You have to sit there and wait for the fish. What we want to make sure is that when you're looking for your audience, that you're casting the net in the right place. Houston is a huge city. It's the 4th largest city in the country. If this is your marketplace, you have a lot of places to cast your net. But the question is it the customer that's right for your business? So one of the things you want to always remember is what differentiates you from your customer and why? Because, people have choices in the marketplace. So you have to make sure that you're marketing yourself in the right place to the right people. So, Daryl, please click. One thing to remember is today in Houston, we're the 4th largest city in the country, and we also have the largest Hispanic community in the country. So if you're looking to expand in that community, you have to change your business a little bit and your communication styles. What part of town? Who's your customer? Are they Spanish speaking? Are they only English speaking? But one thing that I want you to remember is to something like this. The millennial. Today's millennial is about 18 to 34. They use Facebook every day. However, it was found that most of them that Facebook is more popular with non-millennials. And millennials use YouTube, Instagram, Snapchat, Pinterest, and Twitter and LinkedIn more than non-millennials. So if this is a community that you're looking to obtain, remember, they're highly influential, highly educated, they spend money, and they're very reactive to social media. So if this is your customer that you're looking for, then guess what? You need to move your efforts away from Facebook and move to some of these other social media sites to help you grow your message. And most importantly, your audience. Daryl? The other thing to do on social media is that it's not just having a business page or a personal page, but joining business-minded or related groups to your industry where you can promote your services, you can promote your products, share recognitions and awards, client testimonials, and your special events, just like this one. This is an added value you're providing your customers. Well, then invite non-customers as well. Daryl, if you can click one more time. The important component here is that all of these places you can promote and market yourself. If you're not doing it, this is a place to do it because it's free. You just have to make sure that your content is related back to your goals and your objectives, and you're trying to obtain the audience that you are looking to capture. Daryl, please click. And then here, our last point in this particular section is identify your value propositions. It gives your potential clients reasons to why they should do business with your company. One thing that we forget is that we tell people that we're maybe an accounting firm or an attorney or whatever, But remember, this is where you get a chance to differentiate yourself. You have to differentiate yourself. And if you don't, then who will? So remember what your value proposition statements are. Daryl, if you can click one more time for me. It's a clear statement that explains how your product solves a customer's problem or improves their situation. It's relevant, qualified values. These things are really important. So in your social media content development, remember, you have to put your value proposition out there front and forward all the time. It doesn't have to be with every post, but you know what? Once a month, it's on your site, it's on your website, it's in your all your marketing materials. Why? Because you have to stand out for all the right reasons. Daryl,
So when you're developing that value proposition, is that when you're, I guess it's part of developing your marketing strategy that should be clear to you as well as to your team, right?
absolutely, because you have to stand. This is what makes you stand out and what you offer. For instance, Daryl, one of the things that we talked about before is that you save people time and money, right?
Right.
That has to be part of your value proposition statement because people don't always see, they don't always see it. You have to remind them that that's one of those things that you provide your customers with the products and services you offer. And for a small business owner, time and money is their greatest resource that they're protecting. So if you can add value there, then that has to be something you have to lead with. And it has to be something that not only your customers know about you, but your employees know about you too. We save you time and money. It's really creating that connectivity and really stating that added value you provide each and every day with each and every transaction, with each and every customer. It doesn't go away. It's your core values.
Yep.
So it comes back to this word again, consistent. I can't stress it enough. I'm stressing it here. In order to create an essential marketing strategy, you have to be consistent. It's about communicating what's important to you, how you want to differentiate yourself from your competitors, but most importantly, the value you want your customers to know that you bring to the marketplace. Let's go to the next point. Fuel your brand. Please click, Daryl. We talk about social media because people continue, organizations, whether you're nonprofit, for-profit, small business owners, we keep moving to social media as a place where we market ourselves. Print media is still available out there. Television, radio, all those things are still out there, but they're very costly. It's important to use social media, but use it wisely, even though it's free, but you have to use it wisely. So let's continue to talk about how we need to fuel our brand. One thing that you need to do is you need to research your competition. There's more than one accountant out there. There's more than one lawyer. There's more than one speaker, consultant like myself. So you have to really understand what is going out in your marketplace. So when it comes to your social media marketing, research your competition not only to keep apprised of their activity, but gives you an idea of what's working so you can integrate those successful tactics into your efforts as well.
Yeah, I think that's one of the challenges with small businesses that, in terms of researching competition and really a lot of these activities, you often feel like you don't have time, but you really need to make the time to do it because otherwise you might not be in business.
Absolutely. And one thing too is, and you can even just become, just go on their site, like them. And when they do something, you get notification that they've done it. So it'll pop up on your notification. So it's not something that you have to constantly proactively go look for. But if you get those notifications, you can see, and you can see instantly what they're doing. It doesn't have to be with everyone, but there's somebody out there you're watching, you want to mimic it, and you want to duplicate it. But most importantly, you just want to be aware. So, Daryl, click, please. What's important here is choose channels and tactics. Many businesses create an account on every social media without researching which platform will bring the most return. All right. Like, for instance, I don't do Snapchat. That's not something for me. I just don't have time for that. But the things that I see on Snapchat, And Snapchat only allows you to use 30 seconds to tell a quick message. Listen, if you can master that and that's where your customer is, use it. But avoid wasting your time in the wrong place. Okay? And understand your customer's buyer's profile. One thing is, if you don't know your customer buyer profile, where they're spending time, one thing that I would encourage you is poll your customers. What social media sites are they on? Which ones do they refer to? Okay, and like for instance, if your customers say that they spend 40% of their time on Facebook, then that's where you need to be too. If you're not certain, use this as an opportunity to engage your customers, find out where they are, and make sure you're there too. Okay. Also, create content strategy. Here, it's important that the content and social media have a symbolic relationship. Without great content, social media is meaningless. And without social media, nobody knows what your content is. Use them together to reach and convert your prospects. It's important to be on the right platform, but provide the right message. And what is your right message? Your goals and objectives. Let people know what you're doing. Let people know what you want them to do. Daryl, the next one. Not only are you able to do that, but remember, the type of content is important. People are visual. People respond to visual things. And also time of posting. You know, put things out on Monday morning versus Monday afternoon. Why? Because people come into work. They're setting course for the rest of the week. At the end of the day, people are driving home. 7 p.m. works really well because people have finished dinner. They have an opportunity to go on their devices, look to see what's happening. And then also, how frequently are you doing something? It's important to do something to engage your customers on a weekly basis at a minimum. If you can do it every day, great. But remember, it takes time. And if you don't have it, then create a schedule. Monday morning, every week, people will know that you're going to be sending a message and they're going to start looking for it. It's that word consistent again. Daryl? Let's move to our last topic today, which is your brand strategy. By defining your brand strategy is a long-term plan for development of a successful brand in order to achieve specific goals. A well-defined and executed brand strategy affects all aspects of a business and is directly connected to consumer needs, emotions, in today's competitive environment. You know, this comes down to something called loyalty. If you constantly provide good messaging, good customer service, and people like you, they're going to stay loyal to you. And who doesn't love a loyal customer? Daryl? What's important is the way you visually represent yourself, and all your overall communications is more than just merely a design. It's a reflection of your company. It lets people know that you care about what they think and say. Most importantly, you put intention behind your messaging. Daryl? Your brand strategy has 5 P's to your brand. It's positioning, it's a promise to the marketplace, it highlights your profile, it gives them an identity to your personality, most importantly, an affinity to your product. Here's, again, a conversation that we had before, highlighting how to create graphics with appeal, with a message, and a call to action. It lets people know that you're professional. It lets them know that you're timely. It lets them know that you're trying to provide them solutions. But most importantly, you want them to communicate that loyalty to their community. So that way it draws them into you and creates connectivity back to your brand and your products and services. Remember, your brand strategy is tied back to your goals. You've defined your goals early on, whether you did that in January for the entire year, and it's mid-year now, so it's time to redefine those goals, make sure you're on target, but make sure that as you create your brand strategy, that it helps you in defining what that is and communicating it to your community. Your content has to be related back to those goals and objectives. It has to have a call to action. Tell people what you want them to do. Listen, is it buy, participate, attend, refer? It involves them. And remember, we've already made an engagement. We've already engaged them through our products and our services. What's important to tell them what to do with that. But what's important too is that even though we have long-term goals, we have the ability to also refocus on seasonal efforts. It's summertime. You know, people are out and about with their families, taking vacations and things like that. So maybe this is a great opportunity now or down the line to say, hey, listen, we do all these things throughout the year, but right now we want to be focused on helping you spend time away from your business and feel safe and feel comfortable. You know, Daryl's got a tax business or an accounting business, and tax season is very important. So his tactical approach to creating content has to be centered around some of those seasonal aspects of his business so he can maximize them. So even though long-term goals need to be communicated, we have to be also focused on those seasonal elements that affect our business as well too. One thing that this is very critical, you can't do this and then stop, because any marketing initiative that you create has to be long-term, all right? It's because it helps you sustain your growth and your goals for the entire year. So it's easy to get caught up in short-term activities and tactics that drive business maybe today, but when it comes to building a real brand, it has to be long-term. Okay. Why is that important? Because in order to create your brand, it's positioning you in the marketplace. Everybody knows this brand, Coca-Cola. You can go anywhere in the world and get a Coke, okay? It's rumored today that two words, the two most recognized words in the world are okay and Coke, all right? Now, Coke is not a new product. Click, please, Daryl. Coke was invented back in 1886. So this brand has longevity in the market. But their longevity is based on 5 key elements: simplicity, clear values, consumer focus, creative campaigns, and social media. Now you think that a brand like Coke is still doing, you see them everywhere, but their strongest tactics for the last 2 years has been engaging their market in social media. You can do the same thing, but the question is we see Coke, we know its quality, longevity. I'm a Coke snob. Pepsi can't do anything for me. I don't know if there's any Coke snobs out there, but you see, I am loyal to them because I know that wherever I go, the product is consistent. So I will always be a Coke snob. I love Coke, but the thing is, you want your customers to have that same reaction to you, that no matter what happens, who comes to them, who tries to sway them away, they're loyal to you. And that's what brand strategy does. Daryl, were you going to say something?
Yeah, I was going to say, so when they offer you Pepsi, do you just tell them, no, water, please?
Yes.
Just go ahead and give it. I think Coke is definitely on everyone's mind when they think about soda.
But the thing about it is it's the product. Don't think of yourself as your potential Coke. You want people to say when they hear your company name, that they think of things that are important, and most importantly, tied back to your values, what you bring to the marketplace, and most importantly, what you provide. Don't underestimate customer service. Think about this. Your brand strategy is also tied to your customer service. If you go to a restaurant, you have a bad experience, do you go back? The answer is probably no. And you tell people about how bad that experience is, right?
Yeah.
Take the opposite aspect to it. If you go to a restaurant and it's a good experience, you tell everybody and you keep going back. That's what brand strategy does. It creates a marketplace and it creates a verbal exchange between your consumer to a potential consumer. And one thing that's important with your brand strategy is staying flexible. It's important to understand that There's room to be flexible in the marketplace because things happen to change. Things do change. They don't only change in the marketplace, but the consumer, but also the competitors. I have a lot of people in my space. There's a lot of people out there who want to be consultants and business strategists and speakers and coaches. Trust me, everybody's a coach these days. But what I have to do is I constantly have to make sure that I react to them in a positive way, but most importantly, stay connected to my customers. And how do I do that? I always make sure that I engage them in a positive way and they understand what values I bring. You have to do the same thing. So be focused on those long-term things is important, but you have to recognize things are constantly change. So flexibility is important. Daryl? And here's a couple of additional things to consider. Oh, there we go.
Yeah, sorry.
To consider with your brand strategy. Customer service makes the brand. A great brand is one worth talking about, and that means great customer service so clients know that they're getting their money's worth. And when you have these success stories, share them with your clients on social media. Let them know that you were able to save money, help them in a situation, or even one thing too, share their testimonials. You know, have them ask them to give you a referral on LinkedIn on the success of them doing business with you. Don't be afraid to ask for that because that goes back to developing your brand and most importantly, letting the marketplace know that you continue to serve your customers as you set out to. Daryl, the next one, please. And the last element here is connect your logo to customers. A logo that resonates with customers will allow them to be more passionate about the brand and what it represents before and after they have a positive experience with, there should be your company. It's important to put your logo on all your communication tools, whether it's your invoice, whether it's an email, whether it's, it doesn't matter. Presentations, whatever you are providing your customers, don't underestimate the value of your logo. You know that big red ball that says Coca-Cola on it? It doesn't have to be attached to a bottle and have the beverage in it for people to know whose logo that is. Logo recognition is the first way that you create customer engagement and most importantly, product loyalty. Don't underestimate your logo. Place it on everything that you do and every customer touch point with your customers. And your core values. It's important that core values are what drives and defines a company and its brand. It's your company's culture that separates you from every other business. You set standards for what you will and won't accept. What's important here is that it's part of your product and your services that you offer to your relationship with your clients, to the way that you treat your staff. So if you talk about time and communication and being resourceful with time and money, then that's something that you have to do internally as well, because it filters out in communications and behaviors as your customers come into your office or interactions with your staff. So core values dictate every aspect of your brand, both inside and out. Never underestimate that value. So you see, it's taking those long-term goals and objectives that you have set out for yourself and your company from the very beginning and making sure that it's consistently part of your marketing brand. Not only is it in your logo, how you communicate on social media, but what you communicate, the consistent timing, placement, all those things are so important because it goes back to your overall messaging. We are who we are all the time, no matter where you see us, in person or online. And this is so important because you only have few opportunities to get your message out there. So creating the right message about who you are is always important. So with that, Daryl, I think this is our last slide. We go into Q&A now. So we have
Well, and definitely, I thank you for that presentation, Yvette. And one of the things that this slide really represents what I've come to experience with you and your services being very consistent. I would add to that flexible, especially today when we're having technical difficulties in our presentation. You've been very flexible in how you present. So I definitely want to thank you for things that you've done for our company as well as for the presentation today.
Oh, no, thank you. And, but that's what we have to do in order to be successful in what we do. We have to be flexible. If we get so rigid in our thinking and in our processes, we lose the opportunity to grow. So, you know what, we both learned something from this experience today. And thank you for everybody online, and those who will hear this in the future is that the reason this was taking place and I was calling out to Daryl is simply because we had to figure out a way to get you the information we set out to accomplish, that we set out for you today. So we accomplished that. And it wasn't the way we wanted to, but guess what? We got it done. And most importantly, we got through this presentation today. So any questions?
Yvette, this is Wendy. I have a question. You made a comment that that it should be for the long term, and I guess my question comes in is how how do you cut it short if it's not working, or if like that type of branding or marketing is not working, and how do you know when
Well,
it should change?
Well, anything that you put out has to have some kind of measurement. So for instance, you put something out, you need to be committed, let's just say to 90 days. Let's put this out for first quarter and see what we're going to what we're going to achieve. You have to put some with the call to action, a way for people um, to get back to you how they're achieving it. There has to be a measurement tool. So you have to see an increase year over year. Um, is your revenue going up? I mean, there has to be some type of measurement that you have to create with this, with every strategy. Keep in mind, part of the strategy is communication. It's letting people know who you are. The tactical strategies are what you want them to do, so that way you can have the return. So they're connected, and I hope I didn't confuse anybody with that. But then the other component is how do we measure the money? So for instance, I recently put something out with an organization and I gave them a discount code. And the discount or the code was to identify that any leads that came from that specific organization. Now there's this particular organization I've been doing this with for 5 years. And every year, for no matter how many times we do this, I get anywhere an average of 6 to 10 people who respond to it and become my customers. All right. How do I track it? I track it with that code. So that's a tactical strategy to obtain new customers, and I have a measurement tool to do that. And that's one of the things that we have to do. How do we measure it? We have to create an instrument or something to track that. And then if it doesn't work with it hasn't worked with other people. So those organizations, I tend not to do it again. Or if we do something, we do it for different reasons, not for me to get new customers. It may just be an opportunity for me just to appear and move my brand forward, but it's not to generate money. So we have to be flexible with our strategies. I hope that answered your question.
Yeah, that did.
Yeah.
Thank you, Yvette.
Okay.
Yeah. I have an accounting, I guess, analogy to that. And, the way I would look at that is when you set the goals, that's about putting together your budget and then evaluating the results is really looking at the financial reports after you've entered the transactions. And so oftentimes on the accounting side, folks don't necessarily put a budget together and they don't evaluate the results and they think that all they have to do is just put the inputs in and they've done everything. But with marketing as well as accounting, you have to evaluate. We have to set the goal and then evaluate the results.
Exactly. And, we get asked as business owners to sponsor events, hey, would you like to be at can you sponsor a table? And then you look at the table and it's $500, or let's just say it's $1,000. And you start thinking, my goodness, can I do this? How many times a year can I do this? And what's my return on investment? If the people I invite come and sit at a table for 2 hours and watch somebody get an award or watch someone on stage give a presentation, how am I going to quantify that in return to my business? Is it a goodwill gesture? Does this organization support my core values? How is it going to help me grow my, my market share with my customers? And if you don't have a valid answer for all of those, if you don't have a yes, yes, and yes, then you have to go, okay, maybe I can spend that $1,000 a different way. Maybe you just need to attend the event and support them and write a $100 check, but that $1,000 for a small business owner today, that's a stretch. So if you can't quantify the return on investment, then maybe that's not the right activity or event for you.
Right. Well, let me ask you a question about strategy. Once you develop your marketing strategy or your marketing plan, how often should you update it?
Well, with myself, I'm gonna speak to myself because customers have different mindsets. But for me, I review my marketing strategy every 90 days per quarter. Where am I? Am I on track? Because remember, I'm as a small business owner, I'm connecting my marketing strategy to my overall business strategy, and that means dollars and cents. So if I'm on track, then what I'm doing obviously is paying off. If I'm not, then the next quarter I need to maybe review or add something. And it also is add and review what's being successful. Where's my biggest return? And then let me concentrate and focus my energies there. So I'm constantly looking at things every 90 days per quarter because I'm following the money. And so if I'm putting something out and it's and I'm getting a return on my investment, I'm going to keep going. If I'm falling behind, then that's where I know I need to push a little harder.
Okay.
We have another question came in. It said, what if you don't have a marketing strategy? Where do you start?
Oh, well, you call me, first of all. I think it's important that you start thinking about it because, you may be missing an opportunity to communicate your core values and who you are and what you bring to the marketplace. So it really needs to sit down and really answer some questions. What I typically do with a customer such as that is we walk, what are you trying to achieve? And then are you achieving it? And then we kind of go through these assessment questions. And then we kind of figure out, okay, well then let's start small and then let's move forward. But you have to start somewhere. And the question is how do people know where to find you?
Yeah.
And if you don't have a marketing strategy and you're not putting your information out there, then the question is how do that become very critical? How do they find you? How do they know you exist?
Yeah. Well, Yvette, a little birdie told me that you just released your first book this year.
Oh,
Can you tell us a little bit about your book, and then how can we get a copy?
Well, a couple quick things. So a little bit about me. I've been in the business development strategy business for about 25 years. And when I started my business in 2006, working with small business owners became my purpose and my passion. What I can do for a corporation, I can certainly do for small businesses. But interesting enough, I got into the speaking and coaching field, and I got an opportunity to work with some amazing executives and people who were in transition. And one of the things that I found as working one-on-one with these individuals is that there's still a lot of fear in that next step. And people are really trying to figure out who they are and what their purpose is. So not only in business, but also in who they are as individuals. So I created, from some of these things, I created some training and some coaching along that. But part of the content of the book is the title is called A 30-Day Guide to Your Power, Powerful Outcomes Through Powerful Words. And I realized that not only was fear an issue and connecting to purpose, but what people believed about themselves. There was a lot of limited thoughts and ideas that were there, and some were inherited. So one of the things that the book walks people through is developing that new self-truth, removing some of those limited thoughts and ideas from you and from your psyche, but most importantly, getting rid of them and replacing them with who you are today and where you want to move towards. So it's called A 30-Day Guide to Your Power. It's available on Amazon, and it's also on Amazon Kindle. So if you'd like to download either one of them, they're there for you. And you're welcome to also reach out to me. I have some copies. I'd be happy to. If you purchase it from me, I can autograph it and forward it to you as well. Here's my contact information. But the book has just become something that really relates not only to your personal journey, but also your business journey. You have to take risk in today's marketplace to really achieve some big returns. And fear is one of the things that's blocking us. So it's really to minimize and eliminate those things from who you are and what you want to accomplish. So I'm really proud of it. So please look for it. It's called A 30-Day Guide to Your Power.
All right. Well, thank you for that. Wendy, did you have any other questions there?
There was one other question, and it said, how long or what period should strategic planning cover? Should it be a year, 5 years, etc.?
Well, your business plan is a 5-year plan and something that you review constantly. I personally, for small business owners, I think that there has to be at least an overall strategy for those 3 to 5 years. But I think your strategic plan for those who are starting out should be for a year, for this year, okay? And then you review that at your 10-month mark, so like maybe let's say October for the new year. But remember, you're constantly checking this because you should be checking your revenue, checking where you are, and then determining your strategies as you go along. But I think it's important for small businesses to think out for a year, because remember, things are changing constantly and how we do business changes too. So that 1 year, and if you can get through that, then let's move into a 3-year, 5-year plan. I like to work in small bites, not large bites. Now, if you see the screen, please give me a call for being on this call today and being part of Daryl's inner circle of friends, and love to invite you for your 45-minute session with me. I'd be happy to sit with you one-on-one, talk about where you are and what you'd like to achieve, and work out maybe what the next step needs to be so I can possibly help you develop that marketing and brand strategy that you need to have out there, and tie it to those core values that are related to your business and your products and services. Here's my information. Please give me a call. I'll be happy to set something up. And most importantly, don't be afraid to connect with me on social media. I'm on Facebook, LinkedIn, Twitter, and also Instagram. And you'll find those consistent messages out there about me. So I look forward to hearing from all of you.
But you're not on Snapchat.
I don't do Snapchat. You'll see me. I've never done anything on Snapchat. It just doesn't work for me.
Yeah, I'm not on Snapchat either. But definitely thank you for your presentation, and thanks for our audience for your attention and patience and your presence today. It's been a pleasure being with you, and we welcome you to contact us again for any questions that you may have. Love to have an opportunity to talk to you and see how we can be of service for you. So hopefully you'll all be able to join us again next month as we discuss building an effective relationship with your banker. You definitely don't want to wait until you need to call them to make that contact. So it'll be the first Friday in August, and we look forward to having you there. So everyone have a great weekend, and thank you.